I saw a Genderuwo in a Randu tree. My name isn't important. What's important is that I'm still alive to tell the story. Several years ago, I was assigned to a remote village in Java. Let's call it Village X. From the moment I arrived, I sensed something was wrong. As dusk approached, the sky in that village always darkened faster. It wasn't cloudy, it wasn't raining. It was like the light was being pulled away. People rarely left their homes after sunset, and whenever I asked why, they just kept quiet. Until one afternoon, an old man said to me quietly, "Sir, if you come home late, don't pass the Randu tree at the end of the field." I laughed at the time. I didn't know that laughter would be repaid in a far more terrifying way, because that night I still passed that Randu tree. The night was quiet, too quiet. There was no sound of crickets, there was no wind, just my own footsteps in the field. As I was almost past the large kapok tree, I smelled the smell of wet earth mixed with a fishy odor. Then I heard laughter, soft, heavy, deep. My footsteps stopped. I looked under the Randu tree, and there I saw it. A large figure, black-furred, sitting cross-legged like a human. Its eyes were glowing red. Its mouth was a wide smile, too wide for a human face. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. And as its eyes stared directly at me, I knew one thing. I was being watched by something I shouldn't be seeing. I don't remember how I got home. All I remember, I had a high fever for 3 days. In my sleep, I dreamed of a figure standing at the end of my bed. He bent down. His face was very close. "You've seen me. Now I won't let you go." When I woke up, there was a black mark like a bruise on my chest. I went to see a village shaman. His name was Mba Sastro. He didn't ask anything. He just stared at me for a long time, then said, "Sir, you've been marked by a Genderuwo." He said, "The Genderuwo who guards the Randu tree doesn't like to be seen," and I saw it too clearly. From then on, disturbances no longer came in my dreams. Every night, I hear heavy footsteps on the roof. The roof tiles shift one by one. It's as if something is walking back and forth. Sometimes I smell a fishy odor inside the house. One night, I smelled a fishy odor. Curious about where it was coming from, I dared to peek out the window. At first, I thought it was just the shadow of a tree, but after I looked more closely, I saw it was a Genderuwo ghost. It was almost 2 meters tall. Its body was large. It had thick black fur. It was very scary. Its eyes were staring right at me. I was speechless. I couldn't move. My legs were stiff. My hands felt numb too. All I could do was close my eyes and pray that the creature wouldn't come near. When I opened them, the Genderuwo was gone. The next morning, there were a few strands of hair clumped together. Not many, but strange. And it was right in front of my door. I didn't know who it belonged to, because my hair is short, I really didn't know who it belonged to.
Basastro said the only way was to communicate with him, to discuss it so he would let me go, no longer stalk me. Midnight. We stood under an Randu tree. Offerings were placed. A mantra was recited quietly. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, but the atmosphere felt very quiet. There was no animal sound. It seemed like only our breathing. The trees shook. I grew increasingly afraid, but Mbasastro remained focused on reciting the mantra, sitting as if meditating. His eyes remained closed. A few minutes later, the fear I felt was gone. The wind suddenly stopped blowing as hard. Everything felt normal again. Mbasastro opened his eyes and looked at me. Then he said, "Sir, I have discussed it with the Genderuwo, but it seems he doesn't want to let you go. He said he'll keep following you. I can't do much. Maybe you can ask someone else for help besides me." And after that, we both decided to return to our respective homes. I was only advised to always be alert and careful. If I smelled anything strange, I should recite a prayer as best I could to keep the Genderuwo from approaching me. I intend to seek out a religious teacher in the area. Perhaps there's one who will help me exercise the Genderuwo. And as I was on my way home, the village was eerily quiet. The streets were dark. There was minimal lighting. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. The weather was cold, but I felt hot and stuffy. I kept walking without looking back, but I felt someone following me. Sweat began to pour down my face as I tried my best to recite a prayer. I was so scared I couldn't finish. My curiosity was so strong. Finally, I decided to look back. Sure enough, behind me was a large black shadow with red but indistinct eyes. It was right behind me. I immediately ran in fear. I ran aimlessly. My legs felt heavy. My chest tightened. I felt something almost touch my back. I stumbled. My body fell to the ground, and when I tried to get up, I saw a large shadow covering my body. That's when everything went dark. I woke up at a local resident's house. They said I was found unconscious on the street, alone. Mbasastro said, "Sir, it seems like he's really naughty. You're like his toy." Since then, I often hear whispers when I'm alone. Sometimes my shadow moves slower than my body. Finally, I called my parents. They told me to go home, and I was told to perform rukia. I complied with my parents' wishes and returned to my village. I asked for leave from work. My other coworkers understood my situation because I didn't want this to continue. I returned to my village. I told my parents everything. They felt sorry for me. Then they invited me the next morning to visit a religious teacher, Ustad, so I could receive a rukia, an exorcism, to cleanse me of supernatural disturbances. Before I went to the teacher, that night I smelled a strange odor, like a rotten smell. When the lights were off, I saw a large figure standing in the corner of the room. I quickly turned the lights back on, and he wasn't there. Before going to bed, I prayed that the Genderuwo wouldn't visit me. Although it was difficult to sleep, I finally managed to sleep that night. That morning, nothing unusual happened. I was getting ready to go to the religious teacher's house. My mother and father drove me. The trip wasn't too far, about 30 minutes from my house. When we arrived, the religious teacher greeted us warmly. Before I could explain my intentions, the religious teacher said, "Are you following me, sir?" I was immediately shocked. How could he know before I explained anything? But he was indeed known as an intelligent person in his village. I told him everything I had experienced. The religious teacher just listened to me silently, intently.
He invited me to sit in his Dikir room. My father and mother accompanied me. I sat facing him. The religious teacher said, "Just focus and recite the Dikir. Just close your eyes so you can concentrate." I did as the religious teacher asked. I listened to the prayer, but something felt strange inside me. It felt so hot, as if the room was hot. My ears felt like they didn't want to listen to the Ustad's prayer. My chest was hot and tight. My stomach felt nauseous. My back was so heavy. And I don't remember anything else. My mother said I was different. My voice growled strangely. My eyes opened to see Ustad as if he hated me so much. Ustad asked, "Who are you? What do you want with this body?" And my mother said, "What's it to you? Don't interfere with things that are none of your business. Don't mess around or I'll take this child to be my friend." Then Ustad answered again, "This is not your world. Don't bother this child. This child is innocent. Please go back to your place," said my mother. Ustad read something but didn't make a sound until I woke up and immediately vomited the liquid. I coughed and vomited again. My body felt very weak. I was so tired. Ustad gave me water that had been prayed for. After I drank it, my energy felt restored. I was given several prayers from Ustad so that I wouldn't be bothered again by the Genderuwo. I shouldn't daydream and must always remember God. It was my fault that I often missed prayers. I rarely recited the Quran, but I realize now that I won't neglect my obligations again, for myself. It turns out God still loves me, not to the point where I was taken away by a Genderuwo. The religious teacher told me that if anything happened to me again, I could come to him or call him. After I finished, I said goodbye to the religious teacher and went home. This story is from someone who wishes to remain anonymous. If you have an interesting horror experience and would like to share it on this channel, please send it to the email listed in the description. See you in another horror story.